you loved yourself, what would you do now? Welcome to the Margarita Way to Success show. Today with us, a beautiful clinical psychologist, best-selling author, speaker, hypnotherapist, and energy healing teacher. Eilat Aviram is a daring decision teacher. For the past 26 years, she has been passionately helping people dare to choose the things they actually want. Hello, Eilat. How are you doing?
I'm good, Margarita. It's so lovely to be here. It's always lovely to connect with you.
Yes, and I love you so much and everything that you do and all the positivity that you spread around the world. And can you tell us in a few words maybe, or whatever you feel comfortable about yourself a little bit, so we will get to know you better?
I'm speaking to you from Cape Town in South Africa. That's what the accent is. And I absolutely love living here, and I love connecting with people around the world like you. I'm very, very passionate about what I do, because I see that when people choose the things that they actually want to choose, as opposed to the things that, you know, we're told we should choose and that's the right thing to do, when we're brave enough to tune into ourselves and step towards what feels right to us, life just opens up in the most amazing ways. So
wow.
I'm very
And
excited
yeah,
about
so
that.
you wrote the book, If You Loved Yourself, What Would You Do Now? It's an amazing book, and I had an honor to get it as a gift from you when we met a couple of years ago already.
Yeah, 2019.
And yeah, so I want to know more about what is driving you to write this book and how you actually make the life better by asking this question.
I've been helping people for 26 years now, and I see the same thing repeating again and again. There's actually, it's funny, with all the problems that we have, very often boil down to just one thing. One thing. If we can resolve that one thing, we can resolve most of the problems in our lives. Sounds crazy. It sounds like one of those trick things, but it actually is true. After working all these years with people, I see that the one thing that we do that messes up our relationships, our work, our health, everything, is that we do not listen to ourselves. Because we each are born with this incredible knowing inside. I call it our inner GPS. And when it's like you're driving along and you put your system to tell you which direction to take, and then it tells you turn left and then you turn right, you're not going to get where you wanted to go. So a lot of my method comes down to this moment of pausing at the point of any choice that you're facing. It can be a tiny little choice like, what should I eat for breakfast? Or some big decision like, should I have a medical procedure? Should I leave this relationship? At that moment when you're facing the choice and you realize that you're uncomfortable, that something has to be done about it, you ask yourself, if I loved myself, what would I choose to do now? And when you do it, you're tapping into this deep inner knowing that is, in fact, guiding you through your life. We are born with an instruction manual. You know, when they say life doesn't come with an instruction manual, have you ever heard that expression?
Yes, a lot of times.
I know, but I don't believe it. I think we are born with an instruction manual, but like with any vehicle, when you buy the car, the instruction manual is on the inside, right? So you know, we have to look inside.
This is one of the phrases that I actually love the most. It's we look all around us when we need to look only in one place within. And it's really, yeah, I resonate with everything that you say. And it is so simple when you think of this.
So simple. And it's incredible how everything in life sort of guides us away from doing that.
Yes. Maybe this is the play that we're playing here, just to find the sweet spot, point and the sweet spot of looking inward.
Yeah, it's like a maze that we're, you know, we keep looking for the cheese. The cheese is inside, people. It's inside.
It's inside. And can you just, I'm curious, Can I use this method on everything?
Well, everything in your life you have an opinion on, right? Everything in your life matters to you.
Unfortunately, yes.
It's not always easy. But yeah, I mean, you can use it on absolutely anything. You can use it on work, health, relationships, money, food. In fact, in my book, I look at how to love yourself in your money, how to love yourself in your food, how to love yourself with your body and health, how to love yourself with sex, how to love yourself in parenting. In my new book, it's a lot more of how to love yourself with your relationships, with trust and intimacy, with setting boundaries, with how you think, because obviously how we think has a massive impact on us. And a lot of us don't think very lovingly, right? You think about the kinds of ways we talk to ourselves is often not very kind. So yes, you can use it on anything because you're the expert. You're the world expert on yourself.
Yes, and nobody can tell us anything that it's not acceptable to us. And but I think this is the biggest challenge for us, to love ourselves. Why do you think it is the challenge to love ourselves? What's happening there, that we actually are born here to this world, and then something happens that we don't love ourselves enough, and we need to actually to rebuild this feeling towards ourselves? Why is that?
Beautiful question. If you think of a newborn baby, when they're 3-4 months and they start smiling and realizing other people are around them, they smile at everyone. They love everyone and they love themselves. Can you think of a baby finding its hand or its foot and just getting so excited, having to suck it, and they love everything about themselves. It's a joy, it's delight, and even their feces, like they love everything about themselves. And that's us, that's each of us. We're born like that. It's our inherent nature. We come into the world vibrating love. And then that thing that you said, what happens? The world, I mean, there's such a pattern of lack of self-love, lack of self-esteem. There's this kind of ancestral heritage, there's capitalism, there's religion, there's family systems, there's school systems. There are so many systems that we become part of. And starting off with our families, that we learn that if we are inconvenient for those systems, then we get less care, we get less of our needs met. So if you're a lovely, pleasant child, your family showers love on you. It's easy for them to give you what you need, to care for you, if you're convenient. But as soon as you become less convenient, if you have needs that are difficult for them to meet, you kind of get the message that maybe something's wrong with you, you're inconvenient, you shouldn't behave that way. So we start to learn to mold and adapt ourselves to get the love that we need. And it goes deep inside. We believe we're not lovable if people don't like us, if we don't have approval. We don't have worth if we're not behaving and looking and being the way other people find pleasing and convenient. So, and then everyone steps in on that. That starts in your family, but then you go to school and the teachers want you to behave a certain way. And then fashion tells you must look a certain way. And the health industry tells you your body must seem. And even the meditation, you're supposed to be and look a certain way. There's so much pressure on us to be something that is pleasing and appropriate and acceptable to others. And it leaves us with very little space to tune inwards and go, who am I? What do I want? What's right for me? Because we get scared. What if they won't like me anymore? What if I get rejected? What if I get left out? What if I get fired? What if nobody wants to follow me anymore? Whatever it is, we're scared to show ourselves.
So it's again,
that's
we
why
can
I call
summarize
myself
it again, that we looking all over and for our happiness, when we actually can look in the only place that it actually is inside.
Yeah, but you have to overcome a lot of conditioning to be able to allow yourself that. And that's why I've learned, I call myself a daring decisions teacher. It took me quite a while to realize that it is daring. We have to dare. We need courage to choose the thing we actually want to choose.
What is the start point? Let's say I'm a person who still at this point where I'm not sure and I'm not believing maybe enough of what I'm capable of. How do you suggest me to start? What is the start point?
The real basic beginning point is to even think about this concept that the answers are within you. That's often quite a beginning. My foundation, so my decision-making method, which I've written about in my new book and I teach in my courses, but it's called Allow You. So the allow is the 5-step decision-making method. And the you is actually the basis of everything I teach. I always say it starts with you. But YOU is an acronym. So Y stands for saying yes to yourself. We are so used to saying no to ourselves. So you're asking me what the beginning point is. The beginning point is this weird concept that you're allowed to say yes to the things that you want, the things that make you feel good. It's a different concept for a lot of us. We're taught to say no to ourselves and yes to other people. So the Y stands for saying yes to yourself. And the O, the center point, stands for open to what you know. Because we do have that deep knowing inside of ourselves. When you're about to say, when you feel like you're driving and you feel like you should take the turn off and you don't listen to it and then you get stuck in traffic. That annoying feeling of, oh, I should have listened to myself. Or invitations you agree to, or, you know, situations that you land up feeling uncomfortable about, that you knew that you weren't going to like it, but you still did it. It's so frustrating, isn't it? Do you know that feeling?
Yeah.
Like you want to kick yourself. Oh, I knew it at the beginning. Why didn't I listen? So O stands for open to what you know, because you do know. And then the U stands for you are the expert. And as much as people love you, and as much as they want the best for you, and as much as they think they know what's good for you, the reality is nobody but you has lived your life, exists in your body, knows what makes you feel excited inside, what makes you feel droopy inside. You're the only one who knows that. So if you understand that you are the only world expert on the subject that is you, you say yes to yourself, you're open to what you know, and you understand your own expertise on you. That's the beginning point. It's a concept of like, oh, wait, this could be possible? What? Me? My life is for me? What? So to even start processing that, but really that question, I call it the love question. If you loved yourself, if I loved myself, what would I choose to do now? Or if I loved myself, what would I say to myself now? That's a powerful beginning point. So if you're not sure about something, that's where to start.
Yes. And knowing you, I know that you live that way your life. And I do want to ask you, though, that do you really use it everywhere?
I think by now, because I've been teaching it for such a long time and I work with it, and that's so helpful because it reminds me all the time. you know how it is when you're teaching something, it actually helps you remember it all the time. I think it gets to a place where instead of actually saying in my head, if I loved myself, what would I choose to do now? It's become so natural for me to become aware if I'm uncomfortable, to notice when something doesn't sit right with me and to actually turn my attention to it. Not in that feeling of hopelessness and helplessness, like, oh, this is so hard for me, I don't know what to do, and life is hard. But actually from it brings you to quite a place of empowerment, because when you notice that something's uncomfortable for you, you realize, oh, wait, this is the beginning of the allow method. This is the beginning of me making a choice. I'm not okay with something here. And I think for many years, I, like many of the people I work with, I ignored that. I didn't think there was anything I could do about it. I don't like this. It makes me uncomfortable. I have to figure out a way to survive it, or you know, to make a plan to not get into this situation anymore. I would look, like you're saying, to the outside to try and fix it and do things. And now it doesn't feel like that anymore. I feel like, oh, wait, something's uncomfortable. That means my inner guidance is telling me, no, that's not my way. That doesn't feel right for me. If I loved myself, what would I choose to do? So I don't so much ask the question in my head as much. Sometimes I still do actually use the question, but it's more a feeling of like flowing and navigating through my life and my relationships and my food and everything, from using my inner sense and seeing what would Eilat like? What will feel nicest to Eilat? It's almost like I'm holding my little girl self's hand the whole time and saying, what do you want, love? What will feel nice for you? We'll do that. Whatever feels nicest for you, that's what we'll do. And it's such a great way to live life. It's so empowered, and things just unfold. Money, relationships, food, health, it just sort of, it flows so much better when you're happy in your life and that you know someone's got your back, and that someone being you. It's incredibly powerful.
It's amazing. It's truly amazing. And, you know, I was asking this question, not even asking, I was saying to the adults, people in my family, including my parents, firstly, you should love yourself. And I get always the same answer. We didn't thought to love ourselves. We need to love only our children. I want to give you everything. And can you give me your point of view about this? What do I say to them?
First of all, just love them. They're amazing.
I love them.
I actually have a whole chapter on parenting in my first book. It's how to love yourself in your parenting. It's funny, you know, because they're telling you as the child that you are the most important, precious thing and you deserve love, but they're modeling for you that they don't deserve love. So it's almost like, okay, so as long as I'm a child and they love me, then I deserve love and I can receive it. But as soon as I grow up, as soon as I become a parent, I no longer deserve love. Now I have to give the love away to everybody else and not to me. You know, for a lot of people, the concept of love and self-love is totally out of reach. It's like, oh, someone said to me once, she said, but I have to love myself to read a book about loving myself. And she said it years ago, and that comment has stayed with me because I thought, oh yeah, that's actually true. I have to think about how to work with that. It's almost like you have to have some hope that you could love yourself to read something like that. So the way that I've shifted it, the way that resonates more with people sometimes is how to look after yourself. Because we all do know we need to look after ourselves. You have to look after your health, your money, you know, to do things that are good for you. But not good for you as the magazines tell you, good for you from the inside. And that's what I teach. How to look after yourself. In my courses, how to look after yourself in a hectic world, because life just keeps coming at you. So I have a 6-week journey, and we very deliberately look at, okay, what do you need to do to be able to look after yourself? And what does looking after yourself actually mean to you? Which is new for us. We kind of know how to look after ourselves, like the doctor tells us is good for us and our parents, but what does it mean to look after you? What does this beautiful, unique human that is you need and want? What makes you feel delighted and like someone's treating you well? What does that look like? And then we look at how do you do that when you've got kids, when there's work, when there's money worries, when there's health issues. How do you look after yourself, even when life keeps coming at you? So for your parents to be able to not say to them, you should love yourselves, but you know, you should really look after yourselves. You're so good at looking after everybody else, but you also have needs and they're important. So you should look after, do something nice for yourself. You kind of start that way. Everyone wants that.
Yes.
Does that resonate? Does that help? Or does that feel?
Yes. But I think it's something like you said, there's a heritage of generations maybe, and it's something that I do believe in individual power, but maybe it's more collective power.
It's massive, you know. It's
Yeah.
I sometimes like to call it family therapy with one person.
Mhm.
Because you have so much power, especially you, Margarita, with all of what you do and how you vibrate love into the world. And the fact that you're even bringing to your parents this notion of they should love themselves, as much as they push it away and poo-poo it, something's happening. They've heard the concept, it's a new thing. And here you are practicing it, learning what that means, learning how to look after yourself, how to follow your dreams, which you do so beautifully. And they get to see that. And so when you're watching your children do stuff that you never dared to do, it makes you think. And so I do find that we're ensconced in our systems. We have ancestral DNA that runs through our systems. You know, there's all sorts of persecution and wars and, you know, famines and all sorts of things that have happened to our ancestors that is in our DNA. So yes, it is just us, but we also have the DNA, the ancestral lineage, and we're also ensconced in our context, our socioeconomic environment, our political environment, our racial, you know, identity. So there's so much, but within all of that, there is you. You are the being and the consciousness that's living within all of that, exploring that, playing with it, learning it. So when you start to shift it, because you are part of those systems and that DNA and that heritage, when you start to shift, you actually cause little ripple effects and you begin to shift everything. So family therapy with one person, you just keep doing that magic that you do and it's going to help your family, your children, your partner, your parents, your siblings, everyone around you.
So you actually can say that love is more powerful than any fear.
Oh yeah.
I want to hear from your perspective and about the topic that we just said, because people, when you say to them, if you love yourself or self-love or self-care, they actually think, oh, me? No.
Yeah.
First everybody else and then me.
Thank you for raising this.
Yes.
Yes. It's the question you get, right? It's like, isn't this selfish? Do you also get it with when you're telling people they must look after themselves and the yoga and all the beautiful stuff?
That's what I feel. Like, that's what I feel.
Yeah. So people do say, isn't this selfish? It is one of there's two biggest questions I get with all of my talks, my workshops, the two main questions. First one, isn't this selfish? And the second one is related to it, but kind of is, okay, so if I love myself, if I look after myself, that's great. But how do I do it when it affects other people? How do I do it in relationships, in my family, in my loved relationships? So those are the two main things that we struggle with. And this is what I want to say. You say you want to hear it in my words. This is what I want to say. Loving yourself and looking after yourself is the least selfish thing that you can do. Because when you are full, and we hear this all the time, but you know, as many times as we hear it, we actually need to hear it. When you are full, when your needs are being met, you have so much more to give. You are happier, you are healthier, you're a much nicer mom or dad, you're much more patient with your work colleagues who are so irritating when you're feeling tired and depleted. You have so much more to give. And when you look after yourself, I always say, you know, we're like a cell in a body. Each one of us is a cell in the body of consciousness, the body of humanity, the body of whatever, the body of Earth. We're all in this together. Lots and lots of little cells, billions of cells, that's us. And if you think about a cell in a body, when a cell becomes unhealthy, it creates disease. When one little cell starts to go off center, it creates all the things that we're scared will happen to our bodies. So in a way, it's each little cell's responsibility to be happy and healthy and vibrant and thriving, so that the whole body benefits from it. So you, as a tiny little cell in the body of humanity, your moral duty is to do things you love and things that make you happy and things that make you excited and things that fill you with energy. And your duty is to thrive and be joyful and allow yourself to express who you are. Because the liver cell is not the same as the heart cell, is not the same as the spleen cell. We each have our individual tasks to do. So you must be you, and vibrantly you, and unapologetically you, and give yourself permission to look after yourself in the way that the only world expert knows you need.
How do I start? Where's the beginning point here?
You say things like, if, I know it's out of reach, but if it was okay to shine, what would I choose to do now? If I knew everyone would be all right with it, what would I say to myself now? If I had no fear, what would I choose to do now? I have a new book that's coming out in January. I'm very excited. And it's called The Thing That I've Realized Is at the Core of All of This. And it speaks directly to your question. The new book is called You Have Permission to Exist.
Beautiful.
And I think that shame, it's this feeling of, I don't have the right to be here, you know, who am I to take up space, to use resources, to put my needs ahead of other people's needs. This real deep belief that we don't really have the right to exist. And I don't believe that that's true, because if any of our cells did not exist, our body would be the poorer for it.
What is the deepest fear that you see around your clients? Because when you ask this question, as I also see, there's a lot of fears that coming up on the surface. So what is the most common fear that you see?
There's so much in it, but I suppose the biggest fears are around, we deeply question our worth, and then we're scared that if other people see us, they won't actually like us, and we'll be left, and then we'll be on our own, and then eventually we'll die. We'll die alone, unwanted, unloved. That's a very deep, scary, scary fear for us. And I think it comes down to the childhood stuff as well, where we are taught that we have to be a certain way in order to be approved of, and to stay in our system and be loved and have our needs met and be okay. And we are social creatures, so we do need other people. So when you're thinking of saying no to that invitation, and you know that it's going to disappoint someone, or you want to eat meat and your whole family thinks that you should be a vegetarian, or you want to quit your job, it raises big fears. Like, what if it's not okay? What if it won't turn out all right? Then I will have made a mistake. Then it will be true that I don't have worth. And then nobody will love me anymore, and they'll all leave me alone. And then eventually I'll die and I'll be alone and I won't have my needs met. So it comes down to it seems like a silly thing. Like, oh, I'm scared to start my podcast. I'm scared to put myself out there. I'm scared to start meditating or go for that promotion. It seems like it's not small things. They feel very big, but in terms of life, death, they seem small. But it kind of always boils down to a survival thing. It really does. Feels life or death for us.
Do you see a lot of uncertainty around people? You don't know if you're going to change anything in your life, anything, it doesn't matter what. It can be career, it can be relationship, it can be place where you live, the city, the country, the continent, that doesn't matter. The uncertainty, often it scares people. And I do want to ask, because I do see this question a lot, and I do want to ask, how do you deal with the uncertainty?
like calling it the loving unknown. I feel like that shifts things a little bit. When you think of you stepping into the loving unknown, it already does something. And to remember that, I mean, the unknown, the reason we are biologically designed to fear the unknown. It's actually something our brain is designed to do, because the brain's job is to keep us safe. So your entire system is designed to assess for things that could kill you or could hurt you and keep you away from them. To go, oh no, don't go there, don't go there. So the unknown, the brain doesn't know if that's going to kill you or not. It doesn't know how you're going to come out of that unknown situation. So it would rather tell you, don't go there. And that's why all of that fear comes up. And the brain's so sneaky. It does it in such clever ways. It'll remind you of times you've failed before. It'll kind of highlight things in the news that show you that this is dangerous. You know, it's so clever. But the thing to remember is, you don't know what's going to happen today. You didn't know what was going to happen yesterday. You got through the whole day. We can assume we know what's going to happen, but you don't know. You don't know if the sun's going to come up. You don't know if this is the day you're going to die. You don't know if you're going to meet someone amazing, have an incredible opportunity, or be hurt, or have an accident. You don't know. You wake up every morning and you step into the unknown without having a clue, and yet you're totally fine. You've been doing it every day of your life. So I like to think of it as the loving unknown, to rebrand it. And to remind yourself that you're actually really good at living in the unknown. You've been doing it a long time. You're actually brilliant at it. So just keep reminding yourself of that. What
Once
does that
you think
do?
about it, yeah, once you think about this unknown as a loving unknown, you're actually excited more. What brings next? And this is the point where actually I know that people, once they break, it's so funny, because we're on the both sides of the same stick, right? And
Right.
Once we are in the fearful reality, and once we break through this fearful reality, we're totally in a different state. We are loving, we want to give, we don't afraid, we are unlimited, we are free. And this is so beautiful to see and to experience, but people are afraid to step out of the comfort zone and to get even closer to breakthrough. This is one of the reasons I actually started this podcast and this show. Yeah. And it's amazing to see the transformation. I wanted to ask you, maybe you have a transformation story you want to share with us.
I have millions of them. Now I have to choose one. The thing is that this is my life. I'm so lucky. I get to live in transformation stories. That's my work. You know what's really, it's hard to pick one. My mind is going to the health practitioners I work with. So doctors, therapists, physios, occupational therapists, nurses. In the courses, when we start, I just ran a course yesterday, right? It was our 6-hour workshop, How to Love Yourself in Relationships. And it's with all the doctors and the therapists and everyone. And we started at the beginning asking, what is relationships? How do you love yourself? What does that even mean? And then we spent the next hours really going deeper in and understanding, what is intimacy? What is trust? How do you do it? What does it even mean? And always, it's actually intimacy with yourself, trust with yourself. And we did lots of processing. And at the end of the workshop, I said to them, so if you think about how you came into this workshop and you think about how you're coming out of it, has there been any shifts? And all of them burst out laughing. They were like, yeah, it's completely different, because we came in here thinking that we have to fix stuff out there. We have to fix the people. We have to fix the relationship. And we're walking out feeling so empowered. It's up to me. I get to choose. I have to trust me. I have to be intimate with myself, and then it will flow into my relationships in a whole different way. So, I mean, for me, that makes my heart so happy. I live in transformation stories. And the beautiful thing is that they've done courses, and I've talked to people who did the course a year ago that I haven't had contact with since they finished the course. And their lives have changed. They've kept it up. Because I think once you get a taste of that sweet nectar that is connection with yourself, and looking after yourself and actually listening to what's right for you, you don't want to live any other way. Like someone said, we were looking at all the bad feelings that come when you don't look after your needs, right? It's depression, anger, frustration, jealousy, all of the stuff. And I said to them, to the group, so we're quite used to these sorts of feelings. We think this is normal. And one of them said, yeah, this is just an average Tuesday. And it was funny, but also really sad. And I said, but these are all feelings we get when our needs are not being met. That's all. So if you can learn how to meet your needs regularly, that's not your average Tuesday. Your average Tuesday is what you just described now when you were talking about stepping into the unknown and crossing the barrier. Then it's light and it's exciting and it's intriguing and it's hopeful. So the transformation stories, I know you've been doing this for a while, Margarita. But for the people listening, start today by asking yourself, if I loved myself, what would I choose to do now? Ask it about everything. What clothes you're going to wear, what you're going to eat, which way you're going to drive to school, how you want to plan your day. Ask it about everything and see what happens.
So can life be easier?
Life is supposed to be easy. That doesn't mean that it's not supposed to be challenging. Yes. Because we like challenges. We are problem-solving creatures. So I don't buy into that thing of, it's all supposed to be Zen bliss and you must just always be calm. No, I mean, that would be so boring.
It's boring, for sure.
Yeah. We love a challenge. We like to get scared and overcome it. We like to try and figure out this problem. But you want to be able to choose which problems are interesting and delicious for you and which problems are not pleasant. And those ones you can leave behind. So I think life is supposed to be fun and flowing and easy in the sense of there needs to be ease, but not easy in the sense of there's no challenge, because we don't thrive that way. We thrive with challenge. Yes. Like what you're doing, stepping out, putting yourself out there, doing your yoga and all of those things. That's scary stuff.
I'm having fun. This is what I do. I'm just having fun and listening to my instincts. That's all.
Exactly. So you are a transformation story. Did you always live like that?
No.
How did
4 years ago, I was totally a different person. It's like, it's the way I described it. I am the last person I would take care of. And then you step into this and you start believing that you actually can get more. You deserve more. You are enough. I'm here to shine bright to everyone who wants to see the light. And this is what you do, and this is what we do, and we trying to just to show that it's possible to have a fun, easy, and loving life, right?
And loving the challenges too.
And people think that usually successful people, they are people who, they're on the top, not facing any challenges. So I do want to ask you, my friend Eilat, what is your daily routine to be where you are every day?
I almost every morning do some form of meditation, which is to come home to myself. It's almost like energetic hygiene. You wake up, you have a shower, you wash your face, you brush your teeth, and you clean your energy. That's kind of how I see it. And I do it in different ways, various types of meditation and energy work. So for me, that's really important because in the morning, I can wake up with my old paradigms, old programs still running, and I catch them and I go, okay, hang on. I actually get to decide this day is for me, which is so different to how I was raised. I wasn't raised like that at all. I was raised with, for everyone else, look after everyone else, make sure that you're safe. So in the mornings, I check in with myself and I come back into the knowing that this life is for me, this day is for me, and I've got my back. I'm there. I become present with me. Hi, good morning, Eilat. What exciting things are we going to do today? How would I like to do this day? What delicious treats can I plan for myself in this day? Even if it's a day full of like obligations and errands and stuff, it's like, how do I want to do this errand? Do I want to listen to music while I'm driving in the car, an inspirational something? Do I want to dance to the radio in the middle of the day? What will make me joyful? So it's not that my whole life is just, one wonderful thing after another, except that I experience it very much, often, not all the time, but often as one wonderful thing after another. So I think in a way that's my day, and then I listen to my body. What do I want to eat? What is my body telling me? I listen to my heart about everything, about my clients, about should I schedule another person in on this day or not? Because will it make me too tired? Can I handle it? When my kids need something, when my partner needs something, when another thing comes in, I check in with me all the time. I'm together with me. And so it's not perfect. I don't get it right all the time. I also get frustrated. I also feel like sometimes I'm not enough. I'm not getting it right. I should do more. I'm constantly uncovering more layers where I don't believe I'm allowed to do something. That for me is fascinating, how many layers of that there are. So it's exciting. There's still kind of, really? I'm allowed to do this? I'm allowed to do it this way? Really? Like, that's how I really want to do it, but I didn't know I could. Really? Can I? And then I let myself, or I try, and still I have to overcome the fear. But if I do it that way, will it be okay? What will people think? What will they say? Can I do it that way? And the more I say yes to myself, the more amazing and exciting my life becomes for me. And that affects all the people around me in really lovely ways. It's not selfish.
From the morning, you start your day with this positive affirmations towards yourself and this connection. And then in the middle of the day, something not just going not the way that you want. So is it means that all day ruined, or you can switch it and change it in the middle of the day?
Some days I'm stronger than other days. Some days I'm able to go, okay, coming back to it. What am I gaining? What's going on? Some days I'm able to go, oh, I really didn't like that. What will I like? What does feel better? How can I guide myself? I've created this somehow. I've manifested it. I've brought it in. So this is my gift to myself. What am I getting from it? How am I overcoming it? What am I learning about myself from it? So those are on strong days. On the less strong days, I can fall into a funk or feel low energy, or, and then I'm actually, sometimes I'll beat myself up about not managing to do it well. But generally I come to a place faster and faster. I come to a place of kindness, self-compassion, where I go, okay, it's a bad day. I'm feeling a little down. I'm feeling depressed. Let me be kind to myself. Let me take it slow. Let me have an early night. I just
you're not blaming anyone else. You just saying
never.
Responsibility anyway, right?
No, it's never somebody else.
Yes,
it's funny. That didn't even occur to me. No, like how? This is my life.
I ask because I want to make it clear that it is our responsibility.
I love that you asked it, and it's making me aware that didn't even come to my mind. I love that. Sometimes when things don't go well, I go, oh, how interesting. That's my response. Oh, wow. Ah, okay. And then also other times what's really nice is to know that everything, our whole past self has been attracting things. And so things that we're experiencing in the now are often things that our past self, who didn't know as much as we know now, has attracted. So sometimes you're just living out the old stuff. And if you react to that old stuff as though it's right now and, you know, this is something about me now, then you kind of stay stuck in the past. And I find that really useful. Sometimes when something doesn't go the way I want, was unpleasant or a bad thing, I go, oh, something about me at some point attracted that. Okay, so now let me adjust myself to whatever, radiate safety, to tap into love, abundance, whatever it is.
To change it within, you mean?
Yes, always.
Yeah. And do you believe in luck?
I'm very lucky.
That's a good start.
I think luck is a combination of your belief systems and your openness to what's coming. And, you know, there's the element of life journeys. Some people are born into really tough circumstances and they have very hard lives and they have things happening to them that they didn't attract, that they didn't manifest, that they didn't make themselves, you know, a victim of abuse or poverty or, you know, unfair systems. So I don't know if I'd call it luck so much. People can do it in different ways. I do see us as all having life journeys and things that we are busy with, and each one's journey is different. And some are certainly a lot more privileged than other people. So you can call it luck if you want. But I do also think that no matter what your circumstances are, and I have worked in very poverty-stricken areas in psychiatric hospitals and clinics in very poor and very socioeconomically disadvantaged communities. And even within contexts that are mind-blowingly difficult, people makes it easier for them.
Thank you so much. We can talk all day long.
We can, I know, and we need to finish.
And we actually do it sometimes. So, but let's I think step to this. Maybe tell our listeners what are the ways to connect with you, and what the programs that you suggest, and where can we find your books?
Thanks. So first of all, my website is called ilovedmyself.com. ilovedmyself.com. So that's where you can get all the information. My book is available on Amazon, Kindle, Audible, most bookstores. And it's If You Loved Yourself, What Would You Do Now? And then come and join if you want to learn and you want to work with me directly. Come and join one of my workshops, one of my journeys. If you're a healthcare practitioner, you can actually earn your continuing education credits by doing a journey, how to love yourself in your decisions. It's an incredible safe space for therapists and doctors and healers to come together and learn how to do this so that we can pass it on to our patients and our clients. I'm deeply in love with that program. So pop into my website. And one more thing is that you can, if you sign up for my weekly newsletter, it's called the I Loved Myself letter. I Love Myself letter. I think you're in it. The newsletter just comes on a Wednesday morning. And some people say it's like free therapy. So you get a little topic, a little stir, a little encouragement and tools and skills to learn how to love yourself in every area of your life. I don't leave anything untouched. Yeah. So it's like a little nibble of self-love once a week. So I highly encourage people to sign up for that. It's on my newsletter, or I can give you the link and you can put it underneath the subscribe link.
I'm sure that the listeners and the people who watch the show will love you and love you already. And I loved myself, and this is why we're doing this show right now.
Yes. And I love that you love yourself because it helps so many people. Yay.
Thank you, Eilat, so much for your time. And I'm looking forward to our next collaborations in the future. And I love you so much, my friend.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the work that you do. And I'm very honored that you asked me to join you today.